It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel. Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth, and you're watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. You know, Mark, I say this in my sleep, you know.
Yeah, you don't even know what half of those are. You just keep repeating them every week.
I wake up going, you can hear us on 790 to score, you know. But you can reach us and Heated Hotline. Give us a call, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Leave us a message 24/7. Anything's on the table, or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Have an exciting one tonight. We're going to be talking wide receivers in the Pats Nation and a little bit about the draft and some of the things we would have done different. So you don't want to miss that. And, of course, Catone's comments. You never want to miss that. And we're going to go back in the week and weekly rewind. Celtics are ready for the playoffs. Bruins are ready for the playoffs. And we're going to give our NCAA recap. See who won our bracket. We'll check into that when the time comes.
Joe, please, Joe. Mr. Favorite. He just takes all the ones and prays they win, Joe.
Yeah, but there's one thing in particular that we'll look at, you know, as it relates to that winner.
I know what it is. I know.
And, of course, Yankees versus Red Sox. We'll talk both of those teams. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Hey.
Huh? That's it, Mark.
That's it.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready to go. I got my Battlehawk shirt on. I'm ready to do this thing, you know?
Battlehawks. What is wrong with you,
I can't deal with it. I'm battered out. I got to watch football. UFL. Love it.
That's when you know you have a problem, when you're watching that and you're buying gear of the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Yeah, well, it's okay, Mr. Senior Bowl over there. You know, Mr. Every minute of the combine. This guy watches. Well, speaking of combine, we want to talk wide receivers. We want to talk the NFL draft. We're going to do it in Pats Nation. We're going to do it now. Okay, Mark, the draft is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Well, we're recording on Thursdays, as always, so it's 2 weeks from tonight. Okay? You catching that right? 2 weeks from tonight. Joe, are we excited
Joe,
about
are you ready for that, Joe?
What you guys are going to talk about, I'm actually excited this season to see, hoping, praying that one pick we've all been talking about actually comes true.
Yeah, we'll see.
He sounds like a Disney commercial.
Joe, I've already got.
Look, he's got paperwork. This guy.
Listen, I've been studying already. We're ready. We could draft tonight.
You should see. For those of you listening on 790 and iHeart, he's got thick pieces of. Wait till next week. We'll show you our draft books next week.
You know, hey.
All right, let's jump into this. Last week we talked O-line. We talked a little bit of tight end. You know, I don't know. I think I fell asleep during the offensive line portion of this thing. But
but the offensive line, Chris, some of those guys you brought up are going to be key later in the draft to take those guys because we need a bunch of linemen.
Let's get to the playmakers now tonight. Let's get to
we
wide
don't
receivers.
draft, but we're not going to draft any.
We don't draft them, but Mark and I draft them. So so here's the deal: Patriots. Okay, everybody knows they got the third pick in the draft. Then they got 34, 68, 103, 137, 180, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they got a pick in every round. What I want to do...
But Chris, before you even get into this, I think that our viewers and our listeners should know that this may be the most talented wide receiver class in God knows how long, maybe ever. They're saying this could be a historic class.
You think this is better than the Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown draft? That was a good one.
It's going to rival it. It's going to rival it. I'm telling you that right now.
You know why it will be? Because of the two LSU and Marvin Harris Jr.
Yes.
Those three are as good as any of those guys that were taken that year, I think.
Absolutely.
And I predict you're going to have more first-round wideouts taken probably ever.
Yes, you're going to set the record this year for first-round wideouts. I think you're going to.
Okay, here's what I want to do, because Mark is the wide receiver guru. Okay, this is his forte, so to speak.
And tight ends.
Tight end. No, he does. He picks a tight end every year. But so what I want to do is I want to give you a few scenarios. Okay, and then I want you to tell me who we should be taking, what wide receiver and what pick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good. Here we go. It's like a little game, Joe. Timer. Put the timer on. All right.
What am I on the clock?
I'm like what was his name, Joe? Bob Barker, Wink Martindale. You know, had those long little microphones like
you want to talk about T-Rex? Wink Martindale.
Yeah.
Bob Barker.
We're gonna, X gets a square. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, the Patriots stick. They stay. They don't trade anything. They stick at the number 3 pick, and then they have the 34th pick, which is round 2. Round 3, they got 68. So basically, round 1, they got the 3rd pick. Round 2, they got the 2nd pick. Round 3, they got the 4th pick. Okay. Round 4, I think the 3rd pick. Let's just stick with those 4 rounds. Okay. They don't trade. Mm-hmm. What are we doing with wide receiver? And you can go through the picks if you want, like where, well, you don't have to name the players, but if you will say quarterback,
well, no, but
3,
Chris,
and,
so at 3, I think they would take a quarterback. But if for some reason they did something, they sat there and decided we don't want a quarterback. Well, everybody in the whole country knows it's Marvin Harrison Jr. that goes at 3. He's the best receiver on the board. Well,
is it because of what you've been hearing lately about neighbors and LSU?
So listen, so I went through this again. I went through all my stuff again in preparation for this show and watched video. And listen, he is the most complete wide receiver in this draft. And I'm going to tell you something else, Chris, watching tape on him. I know you say, well, he doesn't have that elite speed, but he has game speed. And he runs away from guys in game speed, Chris, because of his techniques, the way he gets off the line, his identification of what they're actually sitting in, whether it's zone, man, whatever it is, zero look. He identifies it, Chris, at the line. His football IQ is off the chart, obviously, because of the father, right? And so, yeah, he actually has real good game speed. So, without question, if he's there at 3 and you're taking a receiver and you take someone else, you want to close the door to the.
So, okay. And I agree with you. Marvin Harrison, to me, is the best.
They're taking a quarterback at 3. I don't think they're taking a receiver.
Okay, let's say they take the quarterback at 3, because we got 3 scenarios we got to get to, Mark.
Yeah, so, go ahead.
They take a quarterback. Now you're sitting now you're at 34. Now, this is the big thing. The 2nd round pick and the 3rd round pick.
By the way, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you because I'm not going to get to him. I like Brian Thomas, the other LSU receiver, better than Neighbors. Just for the record.
That's saying something.
Just for Neighbors, believe it or not, has some of Deebo Samuel qualities that no one's really mentioning. But when you watch tape, he's got some Deebo Samuel qualities. But at some point, we'll talk about all the receivers. But I'm gonna continue your scenario. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean we may get to that now because so let's say they let's say they take they take a tackle at 34. Now you're sitting at pick 3, round 3. Who do they take?
You're gonna pass on a receiver at 34 too?
I'm not going to.
No, at 30. No, at 34, Chris. If he
then.
Listen,
34.
The guys you mentioned, Neighbors, Thomas, Adunse from Washington, all these guys are going to be off the board. They're not going to be there at 34. The one guy that may be there, but I have a funny feeling he's moving up draft boards. I don't know if he'll last, but if he's there, Chris, I take Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. I love him in that position, Chris. He's a precise route runner. He sets up DBs, okay? He's strong enough to escape jams at the line, which is huge. At the next level, Chris, he's got that strength that you always say, yeah, I don't care if he runs a 4.2. He's never getting off the line. Well, guess what?
No,
this guy's getting off the line.
This is no Thornton right here.
So he has that initial quickness, Chris, off the line of scrimmage and the strength to get free. And you know what I like about him, Chris, that none of these other guys really do? He's an excellent blocker as well.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yes.
He is a good player. So this is something that, based on what it seems like the Patriots want to run, if they're going to want a variation of what they ran in Cleveland, he's going to have to be, the receiver will have to block. He's an excellent blocker in the running game. He's aggressive, Chris. When it comes to 50-50 balls, he's aggressive. He's just, the only little knock on him is at Georgia, they only run certain routes. So his route tree wasn't like off the chart at Georgia because that's just not what their offense runs. Not that he's not capable of doing it. I mean, if you want to knock anything about him, they just didn't. But they just didn't run those at Georgia.
I'm not worried about that.
That's all it was.
I'm not worried about that because if you can stem, you can stem. I mean, he'll be able to run all the routes. He won't be. If you're expecting a true X jump ball receiver, this is not the guy.
That's not him.
But for what New England's going to do, they could do it. Okay, all right. I want to go back for a minute. Let's go back because all right. So let's say we trade with the Giants. Here's the next scenario. Okay.
Okay.
So you've talked about Harrison. You've talked about McConkey, a little bit with Thomas, but I think we're going to want to go back and talk about these guys now. So let's say we trade with the Giants and we get the 6th pick, we get the 47th pick, 166th, and a first round next year. Okay. Yep. So now we're sitting at 6. Quarterbacks are gone. That's the scenario. JJ McCarthy, quarterbacks are gone.
If you're picking 6 and you're going to go to receiver, Chris, Harrison's gone.
Harrison's gone.
Harrison's
and let's say all 4 receivers are gone, including McCarthy.
Not at 6. They won't be going at 6.
Let's. I'm just 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay. I mean, let's say they go
McCarthy's
1, 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah. Okay. So the next receiver I would take, Chris, at 6.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I would take him over a Dunce, as I've watched tape, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. And I would take him over Neighbors. And people may say I'm crazy. I have fallen in love with this kid, Brian.
Well, you are crazy. But,
I am. I've fallen in love with this kid, Brian Thomas, Chris, from LSU, and I'm going to tell you why. Other than Marvin Harrison, he has the best repertoire of releases coming out of college football, Chris. He just knows how to beat press coverage, okay, which you're going to face in the NFL. So if you haven't learned that yet, it's a learning. He won't have that learning curve, Chris, because of his releases off the line of scrimmage. All right. He is excellent at tracking the ball, getting downfield. He has exceptional explosion. And the one thing he can do, Chris, he has the ability to stop and start again mid-route, which means, what does that mean? That means he's capable, Chris, of seeing the space in the defense and sit. He can stop and sit off of, even though he's accelerated, he can cut, stop, sit. He has the ability to stop quickly, Chris, which also shows his agility and how much he understands route running. He has an excellent route running development, more so than Neighbors, because Neighbors was more of the X outside receiver for them, even though he can do other things. Thomas is the guy, Chris, that I really like at 6, I think. And I know most people haven't projected like 12, 13th pick. I like him even more than Neighbors, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you quickly why, because I know we're going to be pressed against the clock. Neighbors has Deebo Samuel type qualities. He understands zone coverage, Chris, but I just don't know, or for press coverage, Chris, because of how LSU used him. He doesn't have much experience in press coverage. Okay, where Thomas faced more press coverage than he did.
Yeah.
So he's good at 50-50 balls, Chris, but I just think that he doesn't have the strength of Thomas either.
See, I got to push back now on Neighbors.
Go ahead.
About Neighbors, because the Neighbors' ability to change, which you're not considering, his ability to change direction in his route and still maintain acceleration and still get up and go. See, that makes him a problem on the outside and in the slot. So you got to know with this, you got to account for this guy.
Yeah, but his vertical,
everywhere on the field.
But he's not elite vertically, Chris, though. So
no, but because of his route running, because of his ability to dime
but he didn't run the tree route that Thomas did. Thomas ran the multiple things that Jim Kelly expected out of that offense. This guy was more of a X type of receiver. Sometimes they did some Debo Samuel stuff with him. I listen. I would take either
I
one
get
of
what
them.
you're saying.
I'll take
I
either
mean, if
one
you're
of them.
like, if you're as big on Pop Douglas as you were last year, then I guess Thomas would be the route. Would be the guy to go with here.
No, but Thomas is a million times better than Pop
No,
Douglas.
no. I'm saying, as a compliment. In other words, Thomas would be the guy to go to for an outside guy because you feel good about Pop Douglas and a slot guy. Real quick, before we get to the last scenario, because we are up against.
Can I say one thing though about Adunze? Everybody loves Adunze.
Well, that's the guy I was going to ask you about now.
You're going to go back and watch tape on him, Chris. He has trouble with hand combat at the line of scrimmage. And I didn't realize it until I watched a bunch of tape on him. He'll have to learn, Chris, how to get off the line of scrimmage against physical DBs because they're going to disrupt his release because he has trouble with that. And that's something they constantly had him in motion at Washington when he and ran different schemes to get him free off the line of scrimmage, which I'm sure NFL teams will do once they, but New England doesn't do much of that, Chris. So in New England's system, he might not be as explosive as he would be, say, in a San Francisco system, right?
Right.
Because I don't think we're going to be running that type of a full-blown system.
So if we make a trade, okay, and don't forget the schools they played. LSU, Ohio State, Washington. The competition, it matters. I didn't understand the first 3 games for all these schools is a joke anyway. But, okay, so last quick thing. So now we trade with Minnesota, let's say. Now we're looking at 11 and 23. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, give me somebody. Let's say they take a tackle at 11.
Yep.
Okay. And if they took a wide receiver, I think Thomas would be there, and I think maybe the Washington guy would be there. I don't know at 11, but I think Thomas would be there. Because I don't think anyone else agrees with you, and I think Neighbors will go before Thomas. Although you were dead right on Hyatt last year, I'm not going to question you.
I think Neighbors will go before Thomas. You're absolutely right.
So now you're at 23. Give me somebody at 23.
I take I've already studied this. I take Adonai Mitchell from Texas. Okay, the kid from Texas, Chris. He has elite speed, body control, flexibility. He's excellent at go routes, posts, digs, great vertical tree. The kid is a physical specimen. He's got elite athletic ability. He reminds me a little bit of, but he's a better route runner and is able to do more technically out of the receiver position. But his athletic ability and strength reminds me a little bit of DK Samuel.
DK Metcalf. I was going to say, reminds you of Metcalf.
But I think he's a more athletic version of Metcalf.
Which is saying a lot.
At 23, I think he would be a great pick at 23 if you could get him at 23.
Okay. Now, give me, because I do want to really quickly talk about why Duggar, this money for Duggar. I mean, we have to talk about this. If it puts us over, it does. But you know what? Let's do it. Look, my biggest issue with what they've done so far is talking about, it's a multi-year rebuild. You can't be good right away. You can't turn this thing around. Really? Because here's the thing. You pay Duggar. Okay, I still don't believe, and we've got some comments on our posts from last week's show talking about the Duggar signing, and people are pissed off about it, and they should be, Mark. Look, this guy's going to be getting what, $15 million a year, and he got what, 30? How much guaranteed? 30 million guaranteed.
30 something million
for a box safety that they have 2 of, Peppers and Mapu. You should have either given it to Gardner Johnson, but whatever. Okay, to me, you don't give him that money. You trade your 4th or 5th round pick. We talked about this for Fields, right, Mark?
Yep.
So you got Justin Fields. That's your quarterback. That's not a bridge. That's your guy. You draft Marvin Harrison. You draft the tackle. You trade for A.J. Brown because Philly wants out of the contract. You pay that man. You give him Duggar's money. And guess what? You have a better friggin' offense right now than the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I said it. And I will put that receiving core, A.J. Brown and Marvin Harrison, I'll put them against Miami's right now. I'll put him right against Miami's wideouts. Yep.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care. No, I get it. You got speed. You got the MVP, Waddle. You got Hill and Waddle. Yeah, I'll take A.J. Brown and Marvin Harrison Jr. Thank you. With Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think Fields is better than Tua. I think he's better than Tua if you give him the talent. Wouldn't that have made us 10 wins?
Absolutely, but we didn't trade for him.
Yeah, I know.
Which
we can still trade for A.J. Brown, though.
But Chris, which makes me believe they're taking a quarterback. They have to, Chris. They didn't take Fields. There's everyone saying, "Oh, they may trade down." Listen, they're taking a quarterback, Chris. That's why they didn't trade for Fields. They're taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
My only issue is
who's it going
to be? If they get sucked into J.J. McCarthy, you're going to be one of those franchises, Chris. Every 3 or 4 years, you're drafting a quarterback. You're going to be 10, 15 years of irrelevance because you're going to get sucked into that cycle. You brought it up, Chris. They're going to become the Cleveland Browns. It's just going to be every few years, you're taking a quarterback. You're in a rebuild. You're in a constant rebuild.
Yeah. Well, stick around because come back next week because next week, the week before the draft, we break down the quarterbacks. We break down the quarterbacks, a little bit of defense, but we're going to break down the quarterbacks and we'll tell you who they should pick. And it's not J.J. McCarthy, everybody. I don't want to hear about J.J. McCarthy anymore. Please.
Chris, before we go to break, I got the quarterback. I got the quarterback.
You.
He was on Instagram. They released an Instagram thing today where Brady said, "Hey, if I got a call, would I think about it? Sure, I would." And then who does he mention? Patriots, Raiders. So
I'm sorry. Who said that? Whose scenario was that? Several. Go rewind. Joe, send back the tape. Who said, "Hey, you want a bridge quarterback? Pull him out of retirement for a year or two and let him play behind a rookie quarterback. Let him play in front of a rookie quarterback." I remember hearing that somewhere, Mark.
Chris and Kraft would love to stick it to Belichick and bring him back.
So would I. Not stick it to Belichick, but man, I would love to see him.
No, but that would be Kraft. But that would be Kraft's thinking.
It was. So stick around next week because we're going to talk quarterbacks in our draft preparation. Pats Nation was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, we come back. He's in full voice. Stick around. Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's comments!
So every so often, I have to go on one of my pet peeve tangents. Well, today is one of those days, all right? So today,
please tell me you didn't go shopping again.
No,
I don't want to hear about that.
Listen, don't interrupt me. No sports today. It's a different topic today. So, what really burns me up? It burns me up is people who aren't on time. Okay. You got, I'll use one example I'll use is because I know Chris loves airplanes. And these people, their flight is for 8:00 and they're running through the gate. They're running to get to the gate. It's the doors are closed. They're running. They're asking if they can get on the plane. Then they get on the plane and they're kicking and spitting and pooping their pants and smelling the fuselage up. While now they're trying to bang their bags in. What? You can't show up on time. You can't show up like a normal human being. Show up, put your bag up, relax, sit down. Do what you're going to do. No, they're going to run because it's last minute instead of being normal human beings. Okay? Same thing. You go out to dinner. I hate when people say, make a reservation for 7:00. Okay, you make the reservation for 7:00. I'm there 10 minutes early because I want to make sure they got the table where you're going to put me. I may have to say, no, I don't want to sit there. You know what I mean? You get there, you sit down, I'm with my wife, whatever, I might order a drink. Now it's 10 past 7, quarter past 7, 20 past 7. The waiter comes over 2-3 times. Now you're feeling like, well, hey, you want another drink? Do you want an appetizer? Well, really, no, because I got other people meeting me. I mean, I really can't do that. Now, all of a sudden, they stroll in. Oh, sorry, we were running late. We caught traffic. We did this. Oh, my wife, her skirt got ripped. Whatever the excuse they use. You can't give yourself enough time to show up on time. I hate people that aren't punctual. It drives me crazy. If you make a reservation for 7, show up at 7. 10 of 7. Show up before, ahead of time. Not 20 past 7. It's inconsiderate and it's rude. Plus the fact they're probably trying to flip the table over when you leave anyway. So at least show up on time. And then the other thing that irks me is when you send an email to somebody or you send a text to somebody. Listen, it's 2024. Don't tell me, oh, I didn't get that email. Of course you got the email. It says it in my sent box. You got the email. What are you? Are you kidding me? You got the email. It went through. Don't tell me you didn't get it. Where did it go? It ended up in space. It disappeared. It never showed up in your inbox. Of course it's in your inbox. Don't play that game with me. Or when you text somebody and they say, oh, I didn't get that text. No, you got the text. It says unread. It says unread on my phone. I know you got the text. You just didn't read it. Or it's been read and you just didn't respond because now I can tell it's been read. So don't tell me you never got it. You read it. You read it. Don't lie to me and say, oh, I didn't get that text. Just respond. Don't respond 2 days later. Or when you see me, please stop playing. Show some consideration, some respect, and just respond. It's simple things. It's the simple things that make me happy. I'm not a very complicated man. It's the simple things. Please be on time. Respond to texts, emails. It's not difficult. I'm not a difficult person to get along with, Chris. I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
Joe, do you want to go first?
He's not difficult. He's just got all these rules.
do you want to go first? Because I'm spitting and drooling over here, waiting to come at him right now.
Do it. Just do it. Just bring it.
First of all, okay, just to be, technically speaking, you have to turn on the read for it to show red. You do know that, right?
What do you mean? No, I don't. No.
Turn that on. Delivered is a different thing than red.
No. In a text.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that, and it comes up on my phone.
Right, but some people don't have the read.
No. But I'm talking. Obviously, if they didn't have the read on, I wouldn't have said it said unread. I'm talking about those people who have it on and are telling me they never received it.
Well, how the hell do you know if they have it on?
Because I get a response, Chris. When I text you, it says unread message.
Doesn't it just say delivered?
No.
Or is that just the eye thing that I have?
Just an I don't have an iPhone. I got Android, Google. I don't have that nonsense.
Well, you got all that stupidity. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing. Okay. You are the worst. The worst. No. The worst is Joe. Joe is the absolute
I'm the
worst.
Yeah,
worst. You can't even.
Mark said, I am that guy.
It's not even worth discussing because he never, you call Joe. It's about a 2-3 week turnaround if you're going to get it. If he's going to get back to you, let's forget the text.
If you're lucky.
But you act like you're right. First of all, out of the three of us, I'm the best one. Do we agree on that? I'm the best one at getting back on text and all that crap. We don't. You don't agree with me on this. I'm going to explode over here.
Joe, what do you think, Joe? I guess we'll give it to you.
Explode.
Yeah,
you are awful. Days will go by.
Not me.
Oh, I'll pull it up right now. Next week, I'm going to print this, and Joe, you're going to put it up on the screen. We'll just have to black out some of the content. Okay, Joe. Okay. My grandfather used to say, "Early is being on time."
Well,
is 10
listen,
minutes
that I am. That I am going to say this to you. I am on time for everything. That I do. So
Yeah.
I'm not text. If you want to argue with me over text, but being on time, I'm always on time. If I gotta be somewhere, go somewhere, meet somebody.
What time you came on tonight? You showed up before the show 1 minute before we were getting ready to go.
Listen.
1 minute.
Listen. Was I on time? Joe,
There.
For
Joe.
a show like this.
Joe, was I on time, Joseph?
He's got you there, Christopher.
Hey, you know what you should do though? Next time somebody shows up late at the restaurant, Mark, because I will agree with it. He is on time for everything. He
So
never
when my
shows up
son
late.
used to play,
Ever.
when he played on his baseball team, we traveled all over the place. We were always the first ones there. The only person there before us was the coach.
Yeah, I agree. I was like that too. Where you start to think like, did I have the wrong field today?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Right. You know how many dreams like that I had when I was playing football? Like I dreamed that like I showed up at like end of first quarter. What are we gonna do? You know what you ought to do when somebody shows up late, okay? To especially to the restaurant. When they walk through the door, you should have a bib on, okay, with sauce and gravy and everything all over it. Shoveling, you should be in the process of shoveling veal parmesan down your throat while they come in. And then when they sit down with a full mouth, you should say, hey, listen, I ordered fettuccine for you. I ate that too. So, let me know what you want for dessert. That's what you should do. Just,
Well, see, my wife is a little bit more considerate than me. She would never allow me to do that.
This is why nobody wants to go anywhere with me. This is the reason. Reason number,
Uh,
So. Well, I mean, it's annoying, Joe. It's annoying when people are late. I get annoyed over the phone too. The phone thing annoys me only because of that. What you said, the idea, like if somebody says to you, "Hey, I didn't get," like he'll tell me. Mark will say to me, "Hey, I didn't get back to you. I had a lot of stuff going on, or whatever," and so it's fine. I mean, we got life.
I'm not. I don't say. I don't say. Oh, I never got it.
I didn't
What?
see it. Like
I didn't see it. What?
No. I mean, we all have a life. We got things to do. I mean, but like, yeah, to act like you didn't see it.
Come on, really?
Oh, you texted?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that. I gotta check my phone. How about this one? I've been having problems. With my phone.
Yeah.
You like that one? I think I gave that one to Joe once. I think I said that to you once, Joe.
See,
wait a minute, but you might have with that. What you have, an iPhone 4? You might have with that phone. You might have.
It wouldn't update anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, I've been in those situations, those literal issues. Like I've been in this situation and gone, well, I'm in this situation now, so I can actually use this as an excuse. It's real. It's a real excuse now.
Listen, Mark, this was good. This was a good one today. This was a good one. And you are the worst. You are the worst culprit of all of this stuff, just so you know. Okay? So everybody knows out there.
I'm always on time.
I think we should get your wife on the show for 10 minutes for rebuttal on this.
Wow. All right.
So,
well,
good job. Good stuff. Catone's comments was presented by Corso and Catone. The Real Deal New England Field, Saturdays, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. Sponsorships are available. Email us, corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, when we come back, going to go back in the week. Weekly Rewind. No flipping.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
crap
it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the Real Deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with Corso and Catone. Okay, a lot happened this week. Got the Celtics getting ready for the playoffs with a few games left. Got the Bruins getting ready for the playoffs. Got to go through our bracket, see who won the brackets for the tournament. Going to do it a weekly rewind. Let's have it, Joe.
Going back through the week. About a weekly rewind.
So I was going to save this to the end, but I can't. I've been itching to talk about the NCAA brackets, the Corso and Catone brackets. Okay, I've been itching. So the winner of this bracket ran away with it. I mean, like 1,700 points to like the nearest one was what, like 1,300 or some pitiful number like that, Mark. right?
I don't know if I think it was closer than that. By the way, it was a little closer
14,
than that.
maybe 14.
Maybe 15.
Well, I don't remember who came in second. Was it you?
It was me. That was me. Well, first of all, wait a minute. He took 4 number 1 seeds to go to the Final Four. So anybody, I could have got a 7-year-old to close their eyes and circle that. You just happened that this was one of the years where Purdue happened to show up and make it to the final. You picked every number 1 seed.
You picked 3 out of 4 ones.
No, I didn't. I picked 2.
You had 2.
2. Did not pick 4. 2.
Who were the 2 that you had?
I picked UConn. I picked UConn to win the whole thing, obviously.
Okay.
Okay.
You're going to torture me about what you got. That was a real.
You took Houston. No, you took Houston. You took the team out west. You took them all. Purdue. You won. I give you credit, but you took all the stuff,
Okay. All right. Fine.
I give you credit. You won.
All right. I took all ones.
Yeah.
Fine. But I had to pick the right ones. But okay, hold on. Forget
You
that
had
for
to
a
pick
minute.
the right ones. You only
The
picked
right one. The 2 ones. I had to
Oh,
pick the 2
all
ones.
right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you
it could have
did.
been the
No,
other
you
2
did.
ones.
I give you credit.
No, you don't need to give me credit for that. That's fine. Don't give me any false credit like that. All that. No, people can see. Our listeners and viewers can read right through that crap, Joe. So, but who picked the total points in the score, though?
No, you did. You did. You picked it. You did pick
I
it.
picked the actual score of the game, and I picked 135 points. Come on, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, you
135.
did.
That's good.
Yeah,
And you wouldn't let me bet the game. You son of a bitch.
No. Explain why. Why don't you explain why? Explain why I didn't let you bet the game.
Well, because you think I'm poison. That's why. Why?
Okay,
Because when we
because
went to the casino in Boston, every single pick didn't come in. Not one.
Listen,
he said, "Don't you dare bet UConn. Don't do it." First, you said you'd put your house on it. You said first.
I said I would put my house on it if I was gambling tonight, but I wasn't. I said I wanted the Big East to win the national championship after the way they shafted them. The selection committee shafted them and only gave them 3 teams.
They really did.
And I said to Chris, if you bet UConn, they're gonna lose the game because you're Eddie Mush from Bronx Tale. I said, do not bet UConn. Don't bet the game. He didn't bet the game, and of course they won.
Of course, I got screwed. Mark owes me 10 grand.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. So,
I did tell Chris. I did tell Chris after the first
not rolling
game.
change.
After the first game, after they got by that first game against a no-name team, every single game, I will say this, and Chris will admit it, I did say to him, UConn will cover every game the rest of the tournament. I don't care what the line is, they're just going to blow the field away. And they did, because
they were incredible.
They were that good. They were that good.
They were incredible. And, I don't like them much, but.
No, I don't either. I'm not believing. I'm a PC fan. I can't stand the coach.
No. I mean the coach. You got to tip your cap to him because it was the second halves of these games.
Yep.
That were fantastic. I mean, what they did against Purdue in the second half and how they came and doubled Edey the way they did with the small, and pulled them they kept pulling them out of the paint, Excellent job. Listen, so
Curly is like a savant. He's just, I got to give him credit. X's and O's wise. He's the best coach in college basketball right now.
Yeah. So
he'll tell you the same thing though. That's the problem.
And that is the problem, Joe. He will tell you the same thing, Joe. You're right.
Good point. Pearls coming from Joe.
Wow, Joe. And how about the women's side of the bracket, Chris?
Hey, South Carolina, you got to tip. Caitlin Clark. I don't know what to say about her. I mean, there's not enough you can say about her.
Nope.
And South Carolina, man, did they have a little bit of a size mismatch there?
Just a little bit. Just a little. What was the center was 6'7"? My God, Cardozo.
Yeah, they didn't have a chance. No,
they didn't have a chance. But I will say this, Chris. 14 million viewers for the UConn Iowa game. The national championship game, Chris, had more
million for the UConn Iowa, and then it was, I think, 14. Wasn't it 14 or 15 million?
No, it was 7. It was more than that. For the championship game, was like 17 million, Chris.
Yeah, they broke records
for the championship game.
It was more entertaining.
Chris, they got more viewers than the men's.
They're better. It's more entertaining. So let's talk about the Celtics, Mark. Man, they're finishing strong. Okay, well, look, we talk about that the Milwaukee game. I don't want to just dismiss it. There's a couple of things we
No.
want to talk about instead, but I don't want to dismiss the Milwaukee game. But it's safe to say that Pritchard's not going to be. They're not going to end up with Pritchard on Giannis when they play, if they play.
No.
So,
No. If Giannis even plays now that he's got the calf injury.
yeah, well, we'll see about that. Now, how this team's finishing they're finishing as good as you can want a team to finish.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
and the rotations are good. He's getting guys enough rest. I think Mazzulla, I'm going to give him props for how he's handling this team down the stretch. He's not just sitting everybody, but he's getting them the rest they need. So to me, I mean, we keep talking about it's Denver Celtics. I mean, that's the team we need to figure out how to get by.
Because Denver got hot out west too. They've been playing good basketball. And don't get me wrong, there's a couple of teams out there, Chris. You never know. A team like a Dallas or somebody gets hot. I mean, there are teams out west that could pull an upset. You gotta hope they do. Because honestly, still don't think I want, as good as we're playing, I really don't want to see Denver, because I think we'll roll anybody else from the West.
So here's my thing, okay? And this is a little bit of a hot take, right?
Yep.
Okay. If this team is going to win, they're going to honestly, it's going to be about the bench. Now, I know that's crazy in the NBA to say, well, it's got to be about your stars. I think the stars will show up. I mean, that starting five is, that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm watching the way, and we got we had a heated hotline email. That's why I'm asking Joe if he had the wash. I'm going to play the wash real quick, but that's okay. Bruce from Johnston emailed in and said, this is the best bench in basketball. The way they're playing, nobody could beat us. Something like that. I will say this. Pritchard and Hauser, Mark, talk to me about these guys. Because I'll tell you what, Pritchard, to me, he's borderline starter on other teams right now, this kid. The way he's playing.
He is. He's
doing it against top end talent. It's not like he's sitting playing in this game with no starters on the other side.
No. He's good. He's good. He's hard nosed. He's tough. He shoots well. He distributes well. He plays defense. He's undersized, but for an undersized guy, Chris, he's got all the intangibles. The kid's a hard nosed player, and he's good. And listen, he's really developed. They did a great job they extended him, Chris, a couple of years for real cheap money. He probably shouldn't have signed it. He kind of screwed up, right? But hey, that was a smart move by doing it. And Hauser's played himself into an extension that's going to cost money. I don't know if they'll keep him because of the money it's going to cost, because you got to pay other guys. But Chris, when he's on, he's as good of a shooter as anybody when he's on. I mean, and coming off the bench, what team has a guy that can come off the bench and shoot like him?
He's the Eddie House of Eddie House of this team.
Yeah.
Where the sniper off the bench. And he just hits. One game, nobody wanted to give him credit for that game that he had 10 3-pointers. You got to. I don't care who you're playing against. You still got to hit them.
And Chris, he had a few good games after that too. I mean, he cooled off a little bit the last couple of games, but he's been pretty consistent. For the whole second half of the season, he's been pretty consistent off the bench.
So I agree. I agree with Bruce to a point. I think the bench is going to play a huge part in this thing, a huge part in this thing, and I think Mazzulla thinks it too.
Yeah, he does. It's just, but the 3-point is, and
Tatum's got to show up. Tatum's going to be the alpha, and you're right, Mark, with what you're about to say. With the 3-point,
they still love it, and it still scares me to death, especially if they're going to go up against Denver, Chris. It still scares me, but
we'll see.
He's going to live and die with it. He's going to.
Is. And so they're going in strong. Talk to me. Tell me what you think about this Drew Holiday extension. 4 years, $135 million. He gets $100 guaranteed.
He's 33 years old. By
he's going to be 37 when the contract's up.
So here's my take on that, Chris. I think it's a 2-year contract. So here's what I think. I think that they've got 2 years left with this group, because when it comes time to give Tatum his super max deal,
that's next year though, isn't it?
I think you can extend him next year, but I don't know if his original contract is up the following. They let you extend a year out, I think. You're eligible to extend. Do you realize, Chris, when he's up for a supermax deal, do you know how much money he's going to make?
Yeah, it's 500
They said
million?
no, but it's between 70 and 80 million per year.
Hmm.
$80 million a year?
I
Like,
just need 10 of that.
no, but Chris, these other sports ought to be ashamed of themselves. The basketball, it's outrageous. The salaries are outrageous.
Yeah. So I think
anyway,
it's all right.
Point being, Chris, I think Holiday's a 2-year deal because in 2 years they're gonna have to make some decisions about this team. And if they win a couple of championships, I think they would probably dump Holiday to another team that's looking for a veteran point guard to get them for depth or to get them over the top. Like you could probably see them, okay, you know what, we'll trade you, get some whatever we can get back because you did what you had to do for us, and somebody's looking for a veteran. Like I don't necessarily know if he'll be here until 37. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't really care about 3 years from now. I care
No,
about.
and I don't think he'll be here 3 years
Yeah,
from now.
I like
either.
the 3. I like the signing. I like it.
I do. I like
you're going to keep this core together. Now Derek White's the next thing. You can keep this core together for as long as you can. I'm fine with that. And the last thing on Celtics that I want to bring up is Mike Gorman. Mike Gorman's going to call his final game for the Celtics. He does the TV. He's been doing it for 43
Chris,
years.
now that's regular season game. Did he do
regular season?
He'll do the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm
right?
sure he'll do the playoffs. But his last regular season game is Sunday or tomorrow. I think that's against the Wizards, right? And so he'll call that last game. And I tip you a cat. This guy is a fixture. He's the voice. He's the face of the Boston Celtics. Was a part of 3 championships, right? In the 80, 84, 86, 08. Hopefully this year. You can't say enough about this guy. He and Tommy Heinsohn for so many years. And if you haven't seen it, go watch that Mike and Tommy program they got out there, that documentary. But Mark, I can't say enough about this guy. A true professional, a true part of the Boston Celtics, and players thought he was too.
No, absolutely, Chris. And he'll tell you stories about back in the 80s where it was a different culture. It was a different time. There weren't cell phones. There wasn't social media. And he said they'd go on a West Coast strip and they'd be at the bar with Heinsohn, and Heinsohn would hold court with a bottle of scotch. And he said it was just a different era where guys were playing cards at the bar, and it was drinking. It was just different. And those days obviously are gone, but Gorman is just a true legend. I'm going to take you back a little bit, Chris. If you remember, he started as a sports anchor, WPRI 12. Okay. He was the first voice back in 1980 on Saturdays.
I remember that.
12 noon, the Big East Network. Dave Gavitt started it, and he tapped Mike Gorman, and Mike Gorman was on every Saturday at 12 noon from a Big East site. And he was part of that whole Big East development and that Gavitt came up with. So, yeah, he's a true legend.
Now it's Corso and Catone.
That's it. So, Corso and Catone, we tipped our caps to Mike Gorman. Excellent career, 43 years. Listen, we didn't talk Bruins, but we will next week because their final game is next Wednesday, I think. And so we'll talk about them and their matchup. I hope it's not Tampa or Carolina. Oh my goodness. Let's
Chris,
hope not.
Chris, I just quickly though, I don't think they're gonna be rotating goalies.
Doesn't look that way, does it?
No,
Doesn't look that way.
Just as a little tidbit.
So we'll get to that next week. But Weekly Rewind was presented by CORSO Law Group, CORSOLawGroup.com. Hey, we come back, going to talk Yankees, Red Sox, all that and more right after this.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CORSOLawGroup.com.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. Okay, Mark, we want to talk Yankees? We want to talk Red Sox? Joe, let's have it. Okay, Mark, so 10-3. Start talking about New York. 10-3. You know, are you liking what you're seeing so far? A little problem with the pitching yesterday.
Yeah, so I think, Chris, the problem with the Yankees, couple of things. Judge needs to get going. I think Soto is an unbelievable trade. He's just, you watch him hit, Chris. It's unbelievable how good of a hitter he is. His approach at the plate and what he does. And I talked about this a little bit last week. It actually is feeding other guys, especially guys like Volpe, who's batting, just under 400. So that part of this team, Chris, he's helped create a different hitting philosophy, I think, and approach at the plate that they haven't had the last 4 or 5 years that will aid them when they get further into the season and maybe if they make the playoffs. But I am going to say this. The bullpen, Chris, they're going to have to get some length eventually out of their starters. I know it's early. You don't get length early in the season out of your starters. They're going to have to get Cole back because the bullpen, they just lost Jonathan Lazagi. Lazagi is out for the year, who was a big piece of their pen. They don't have, Chris, I don't think, the depth. They've got a couple of guys in the back end. But when you start bringing guys in every night in the 6th and 7th inning, they're going to struggle there, Chris. Those guys they're not where they need to be. They're young. Maybe they'll develop. Some of these guys like Ferguson. But, and so we'll see. But I like the approach. I like the hitting. Judge, Chris, has to get going.
Man.
Last night, he played
Oh,
awful
I was
last
so
night.
disgusted. He had
the other
two
night, not last
opportunities.
night. The other night, was it Thursday night, Wednesday night? Awful again. He had chances to win the game against Miami. Wednesday. He's batting, Chris, under 200. He's batting like 130, 140.
Not acceptable. And what you need is the starts all like Cortez gave you on last Monday where he had 8 innings.
Yes, that's what you need.
Something like that.
You need that right now until the bullpen can get its legs and get some experience. That's exactly what you need, Chris. Exactly.
So we'll see about that. Yeah, and again, you're right with Judge. I mean, he'll come. He's going to come around. I mean, he's going to. I can't imagine he's going to be down for very long.
I mean, I hope that little injury they claim he had in spring training, he had to rest a little bit. I'm hoping that that's not bothering him and he's just playing through it because. Yeah. You need him to be healthy.
Well, there's no reason for him to play through it then. They got a million games. I mean, sit him down. I'm a little concerned about Torres, too.
Yeah, Torres is having a bad start. He played well last year for us.
So those are the guys you're going to have to look at. And flipping to the Red Sox, Mark. So there's a couple of things I got on this team. So they're coming back to reality just a little bit. They're up right now. We're recording on Thursday. They're 7-5. Listen. They don't sell their home opener up. Okay. So let's start there. So they don't sell the home opener out. And this is talking about, you're bringing back the 2004 Red Sox championship Red Sox team, which is the team that broke the curse, right? That's the team that broke the curse. Be bringing them back to honor them. However many years, what is that? 20 years later, whatever it is.
20 years later.
And you're honoring Tim Wakefield, which was nice. The kid threw out the pitch, and it was that family's been through enough. So even with that, okay, you had a 7-win road trip coming into the home opener. You had, you beat
a minor league team. Oakland's a minor league team.
Okay, yeah, but it's still a 7-win. You were at the time you were a half out of. If you care about first place at this stage, you're half a game out. The point is, it was good weather. There's excitement. You can't sell it out.
Yeah,
can't sell it out. I mean, do you realize the gimmicks? I'm wondering, is this really a baseball town anymore? Because the gimmicks that these guys are coming up with. They have 19 last year. However many they had, those specialty days where you have, we're going to do this today. We're going to have, Seinfeld day and this day and that day at the ballpark.
Chris,
they have 19 more.
Chris, that's what minor league facilities do. Minor league parks do that to get fans to show up to the games.
Like in the movie, Major League,
Yeah.
They have 19 more special days than the last, 22 more than in 2022. Days like this. Jerry Garcia Day, they're going to have. They're going to have Seinfeld Day. Okay? Hello Kitty Day. What the hell is that, Mark? What the hell is Hello Kitty Day?
I don't know. What do I know?
And all kinds of political days and, stuff for politics and this and that and the other thing. Mark, this is not a baseball town anymore, such as we knew growing up.
I don't know if it's not a baseball town, Chris. I think if
It's
you
just
put the
because they suck.
I think if you spend money and you put a product on the field, I think they'll still show up. I just don't think I think John Henry's just thinking of other ways to produce revenue because he's not going to spend a ton of money on the roster. And so far, it's kind of worked. Like, if you look outside Fenway Park now, Chris, I mean, I know you haven't been in years, but outside of Fenway Park, they got all these beer gardens and all these different places. And they're giving tickets away to the college kids for basically nothing to go to the games.
Right.
It's difficult for those kids to get served in the stadium. But outside the stadium, they're serving anybody. So it's almost like it's like a big frat party outside before they go into the games. And then they go into the games. They're half in the bag. They go into the games and whatever.
What are you looking at over there? You looking at your watch?
Listen, I'm looking at stats. I'm getting text alerts on games. That's why.
You better respond. If you're getting a text, you better respond to that thing.
No, it's not a text. It's an alert. It's a sports alert. Listen, I'm plugged into everything. I'm not like you. You're like an old man. You look at for the newspaper still.
So,
listen, but Chris, bottom line is this: the lineup. Now they come home. To your point, though, the pitching's starting to show its reality. The hitting's coming back to life. They're coming back to reality. They got some injuries. Trevor Story's out for the year. Nick Pavetta's on the Pavetta is on the DL. Like they got problems, Chris. They have no depth. Yeah. This team is going to be, when it's all said and done, what we originally thought they were going to be, which is low 80s, 83, 84 win team. That's all they're going to be.
Well, I mean, I said this when we talked about our predictions and what it's going to take for this team to do anything. I said my whole thing was Trevor Story was going to be a key to this season. He was going to have to be. He was going to have to be the guy he was in Colorado for them to do anything, for even have to sniff possible playoffs. And and
now he's out for the year.
Now he's out for the year, Mark.
Yep.
And by the way, just so you know we went to visit Tufts, university over there.
Yep.
And they talked about what the kids get to go to the Red Sox games. They drive them in, and then and they give them tickets for like nothing, like $10.
Exactly. And then they go to the beer gardens outside. They drink, they eat, they do whatever. It's a great time, but those kids aren't even necessarily fans, Chris. They're going to drink, have fun, party. Henry don't care as long as there's people in the stands are spending money.
So. Listen again. So is there a light? Is there a possibility? Is this a team that would try to make a move? Not really, because they don't want to pay anybody anyway. I mean, they're gonna roll with what it is.
They're gonna roll with what it is. They're not making no move. If you listened the other day, Chris, when they lost, they made a bunch of errors, and
oh my God, that was like Ringling Brothers out there.
It was, but listen, but Chris, but what manager after the game says, it is what it is. It's what we, almost like saying, that's what we expected. Like, in other words, basically saying my roster stinks. What more do you want from me? Like, that's almost what he was trying to say, but he didn't say it that way.
That's a guy that's looking for property in New York right now.
Listen, there's no way this guy's coming back next year. No way. Corey's coming back.
He's looking for houses outside of New York City. He's looking for houses outside the Bronx. So when the Yankees fall on their face in the playoffs and we can finally get Boone the hell out of here, we take Alex Cora, right? Mark?
Yeah. Yep.
So
because listen, he knows.
So we'll see what happens. Last week I was excited. I said, 90 wins now, but I don't see that happening. They're going to come back down to reality. So let us know what you think in Heated Hotline for your predictions for the Yankees, Red Sox. But Corso and Catone was presented by Corso Law Group. Hey, get on, watch. All our shows are up for you to listen. Watch, subscribe, give us that thumbs up. And make sure you come back next week, noon Eastern. We're going to have Celtics, Bruins, playoff. Going to talk quarterbacks in the draft. Very excited about that. Catone's comments, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.